Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. Please visit our website, cscatlanta.org, for a complete list of live and recorded events. We invite you to sign up for our newsletter to stay connected to all future programs.
Okay, so as Lauren alluded to, I am a dietitian and I have the pleasure of overseeing 20 registered dietitians that are specialists in oncology. And then today we're going to be speaking specifically about hydration in the context of cancer. So Lauren and I deemed that this topic was pretty apropos considering it's about 4 million degrees outside and we need to be drinking our water regardless of whether or not we feel thirsty. So why do we need to drink our water? What does it do for our body? So it's needed for nearly every bodily function. It aids in regulating our body temperature, particularly when it's really hot or really cold outside, lubricating our joints, preventing infections, nutrient delivery to cells, and it also aids in reducing inflammation. So being well hydrated, also in addition to all of these functions, it improves sleep, cognition, it helps you think a little bit more clearly, mood, and it increases energy levels. So fluid requirements, there's no exact validated method to calculate fluid needs. We need fluids because our bodies are made of 50 to 70% water. And you'll hear on TV or well-meaning medical professionals say everybody needs 8 ounce glasses of fluid a day. And the thing is, it's not a one size fits all type of thing. There's different, our fluid needs are based on our height, our weight, our activity level, whether or not we're having some vomiting, diarrhea, things of that nature can increase our fluid needs. If you're sick, if you have an infection, if you have a fever. So what I like to tell my patients is if you want to do the 8 ounce glasses of water, most of us don't get that anyway, but let's make that a good starting point. Okay. Another way that a lot of dietitians measure a patient's fluid needs is 1 milliliter of fluid per calorie of estimated energy needs. Okay. So that's how many calories you need in a day. And with that, I would recommend you speaking individually with a dietitian because that's another situation where it's not a one size fits all type of thing. We all have different energy levels too. We also use the body surface area method, which takes into account your height and weight. And the majority of people are going to need way more than 8 ounce glasses of fluid a day with this particular method. The average person urinates approximately 6 to 7 times a day. You want your urine to be a pale or a clear yellow color. If you're urinating less than this, or if you have darker urine, you're probably going to be dehydrated. And so I tell patients to go more so by this, your frequency of urination and your urine color. And if you're finding that you're only going 3-4 times a day, or if you have a darker color urine, then you probably need to bump up your fluids. I have a 3-year-old. You can tell she's a daughter of a dietitian because she'll come and get me and say, "Mommy, my pee-pee was light yellow. You'll be so proud of me." So that is just a good way to know that you're being adequately hydrated. So dehydration, it comes from insufficient water or fluid intake. Thirst is a sign that you're probably already dehydrated. We need to be drinking and sipping on fluids, as I mentioned before, prior to getting to this point. Some signs of mild dehydration are things like headaches, tiredness, weakness, dry mouth, loss of appetite, or perhaps craving sugar, constipation, and again, that darker colored urine. But the biggest thing that I see with my patients on treatment is fatigue is a symptom anyway of a lot of treatments. But a lot of patients, when they up their fluid intake, will find that they're not quite that they're not quite as fatigued because they're not experiencing that dehydration. So there's several different levels or degrees of dehydration, and the first one is mild. You can definitely treat this at home by just simply by consuming more fluids by mouth. In most cases, water is going to do the trick. You're not going to have to do much more than that. And then some things that may cause that mild dehydration are sweating a lot, perhaps from exercise or just being outside on a very hot day. Again, vomiting, diarrhea. And with this, you just want to replete with fluid that contains electrolytes. But again, all of that can be treated at home. In this case, with either mild or moderate dehydration, you may have a dry or a sticky mouth, or again, not urinating much or having that darker color urine. And with moderate, it's going to require IV hydration at an urgent care or an ER. And then severe is going to absolutely need to be managed by a healthcare provider. And some of the symptoms with severe dehydration are a weak pulse, a fast pulse, seizures, a low level of consciousness, and very, very dark urine or not urinating at all. So you definitely need to go to the ER in this case or call 911 for assistance. So again, we get busy, that may cause dehydration, so we're not drinking enough fluids throughout the day, or we're starting too late in the day with our fluid intake, just not consuming what our body needs in general. Some people that don't have access to safe drinking water, if they're traveling or out hiking on a hot day, fluid losses from diarrhea, vomiting, increased fluid needs due to fever, excess sweating, increased urination, particularly with certain medications like diuretics. So if you're on Lasix or something of that nature, your body's going to require more fluids because you're losing a lot more. So for preventing dehydration, you want to start early in the day with your fluid intake and consume plenty of fluids and eat foods that are high in water content. For vomiting or diarrhea, you want to start drinking fluids at the very first sign of illness. Rule of thumb that I tell my patients is for every episode of vomiting or diarrhea, you need to consume about 8 ounces of hydrating fluid. So I'll go into this later, but it could be something like BioLite or Pedialyte. Gatorade just came out not too long ago with a rehydration beverage as well. Any type of strenuous exercise, you want to start hydrating actually the day before. And producing clear, pale urine is a good indication that you're doing a good job with your hydration. In hot and even cold weather, we're going to need additional fluids to help regulate your body temperature because that cold weather, which surprises a lot of people, can actually cause moisture loss or fluid loss in your body. Illness, as I stated before, older adults most commonly become dehydrated even with minor illnesses. So at the first sign of a fever or just any type of sickness, we want to make sure that you're consuming a lot of fluids. This is not something that's on here, but in regards to Folfox treatment, if you guys have heard of Folfox treatment or if you're on oxaliplatin, you want to make sure that your fluids are your room temperature because that can cause some cold sensitivity. So also preventing dehydration due to strenuous exercise or outdoor activity. You want to try to drink about 2 cups or 16 to 20 ounces of fluid 1 to 2 hours before going outdoors. So if you're planning a beach day and you're going to be outside walking on the beach, whatever it is, just make sure that if you're going out at 8 a.m., that around 6 a.m. you start consuming about 2 cups of fluid. And then after that, just make sure that you bring a water bottle with you and drink about 6 to 12 ounces of fluid. So that's about a cup every 10 to 15 minutes if you're going to be doing some strenuous activity. And then don't stop there. After that activity, you're going to want to consume another 2 to 3 cups or 16 to 24 ounces. So a lot of patients will say, their water starts to taste funny, and this is a side effect that can occur not just during treatment, but after treatment. Sometimes patients complain of a delayed altered taste, and the minerals in the water, just the water itself, tastes really funny, and so that can prevent patients from wanting to drink. So these are some good tricks of the trade that have helped out a lot of our patients. So infusing water overnight, so getting like a glass pitcher or plastic pitcher, whatever it is, and just putting either whatever your favorite fruit is in there. So it's watermelon season, so watermelons or any type of fresh berries, and just letting it sit overnight, and so the water takes on that flavor can be very helpful. Cucumbers and mint, so if any of you have been to the spa and they serve that nice flavored water, that can be good and encourage people to drink. Pineapple, lemon, lime, also things like ginger, rosemary, or cilantro can be good in water. And ginger, it can be doubly helpful because it helps with nausea. So if you are currently on treatment and having some nausea, being more adequately hydrated helps reduce nausea, and ginger has also been known to reduce nausea. And there's a slide later on in this that talks more about alkaline water, so I'm not going to go into detail about that yet. But I've had a lot of patients say that alkaline water actually tastes better than regular water, than bottled water. So if you like the taste of it, then that is perfectly fine for you. Also, fizzing it up a little bit, so adding some seltzer water can make it more exciting. And then if you're trying to watch your calories and watch your waistline, you don't want to do a whole lot of juice, but you can always add a splash of your favorite juice. So cranberry juice or orange juice, whatever it is you like, can help too. So we'll have patients ask, do I only need to drink water for my hydration? And the answer is no. Anything that is liquid at room temperature is going to count toward your fluid needs. And so that's things like popsicles or jello. So things that you may not even think about can count toward your hydration needs. Most of our hydration is going to come from fluids, but there's also some foods have a lot of water content that can be helpful. Fruits and vegetables such as watermelon and spinach are almost 100% water by weight, so that can help. Also, I recommend coconut water because that's a beverage that tastes good to a lot of people, and it also contains the electrolyte potassium, and it's a little bit lower in sugar than a lot of the juices out there. Patients that like low-fat milk and juice, herbal teas, they're also water and they count toward your hydration. And even people ask about coffee and soda, where they may not be our number one choices, they have a net hydrating effect. So we always used to say that coffee and soda is dehydrating, and that's not necessarily true. It actually does have a little bit of a net hydrating effect. So these are some foods, it's salad season as well in the summer. So you can throw your cucumbers, your celery, lettuce, watermelon, strawberries. Those are all really great on salads. So you can just make a very hydrating salad. If y'all went to the food demo not too long ago, last week, Kip made a really good poke bowl that had a lot of these ingredients in here that can be quite hydrating. Also, as far as vegetables are concerned, you'll see zucchini and cauliflower too, are not only rich in water itself, but all of these foods contain either anti-inflammatory compounds or different sources of vitamins and minerals. So it's not just water itself that aids in hydration, but electrolytes are also very important, and they play a role in regulating the balance of fluids in the body. And a lot of their roles are geared toward regulating blood pressure as well as muscle contractions and just keeping our system functioning properly in general. You never want to lose too much sodium, potassium, or magnesium, because if you lose significant amounts of any of these minerals, it can lead to dehydration. So if you want to make an oral rehydration therapy recipe at home, this is from the World Health Organization, and a lot of us already have these ingredients in our pantries. So it's just half a teaspoon of table salt, a fourth of a teaspoon of salt substitute, and the reason for the salt substitute is the potassium, a half a teaspoon of baking soda, 2 tablespoons of table sugar, and also tap water to make 1 liter. So it's cheap, it's easy. You want to make sure to discard this after 24 hours. And each liter is going to provide sucrose, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a minute. That turns into glucose, which is necessary for hydration. You see it's a little bit of sodium, potassium, chloride, and bicarb. So we get asked a lot about oral rehydration products. What's the best one? What should I do? How much should I drink? So I just want to talk a little bit about that. All of these products, these examples listed below, they all contain electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, sodium, and phosphorus, as well as glucose, which is going to, again, aid in fluid absorption. So some of the examples that we recommend quite frequently are BioLite, Pedialyte, Liquid IV, and Gatorlyte. Um, if I wasn't a dietitian, I would probably be a BioLite rep, but I recommend this all the time because it has the same amount of electrolytes as IV fluid does. And not only that, but you'll see the 5 flavors below in that picture. There's punch, tropical, melon, citrus, and berry. And the flavor profiling ranges from salty to sweet, even though it all has sodium in it. So if one of them tastes too salty to you, you can try one with a little bit of a sweeter flavor profile. And then a lot of patients tend to like the taste a little bit better than Pedialyte. But with that said, I'm not against Pedialyte, Liquid IV, Gatorlyte. They're all good. They're all aid in rehydration. If you take a water bottle with you, it's always good. You can throw some BioLite or Liquid IV in powder form in your purse or in your snack bag to just always have that with you just in case. But they all come in liquid and powder forms. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit and just discuss water safety because that is very important. It does vary throughout the United States, so you always want to check with your local health department and water utility to confirm the safety of your household and community tap water, although most of us do have safe tap water. Water from your home faucet will be considered safe if your source is a city water supply or is from a municipal well serving highly populated areas. It's tested for contamination on a regular basis, so it's highly regulated. Private and small community wells, the quality of water from these sources, it can't be guaranteed. So you definitely wouldn't want to drink this, particularly when your immune system is weak. You would want to use alternate sources like boiled water, bottled water, or distilled water. Filtration systems for well water, most of them just aren't going to work. It's not going to be safe unless it is chlorinated. So for boiling and distilled water, at home, you can make it safe by bringing tap water to a rolling boil for 1 minute. But well water must be boiled for 15 to 20 minutes and consumed within 48 hours. So just remember that. So here's some information on bottled water and the 4 types of water here. There's 4 types, and the first one is spring water, which is going to be derived from an underground form that flows naturally to the surface of the earth. So if you see spring water on the label, that's what that means. Purified water has been produced by distillation, deionization, reverse osmosis, and some other process that meet the standards for purified water. Mineral water is natural water that contains certain minerals and trace elements, but no additional minerals can be added to this product. And then sparkling water can be treated with carbon dioxide, so that's what adds the fizz. So carbonated water versus distilled water, this is another one we get asked questions about. The carbonated water itself is just as hydrating as still water, and it does have, add some fun and some jazz to it with that sensory stimulation. Some add natural flavors for variety. It typically doesn't have the benefit of fluoride to prevent tooth decay, and dentists would caution against you drinking more than about 1 of these a day. I admit I drink like 2 or 3, but the dentist would be mad with me about that. Just to maintain that good tooth health and enamel integrity. It's always good to pair that with food as well to cut down with acidity. And then you can also use a straw, and so the carbonation goes to the back of your throat and bypasses your teeth, and that can help too. Okay, so I alluded to the fact that we are going to have an alkaline water slide, and this is one of those other myths that's out there in the cancer community is that alkaline water is going to be more healthful than regular water, and that's just not true. If you have working organs, those organs are going to ensure that alkaline water is reaches a pH of 7, which is the pH of regular water. So the only time that we really recommend that a patient consume alkaline water is if you just prefer the taste. It is not bad for you at all. You can absolutely drink it, but if I can save you some money today by saying it's not going to help you in a healthful manner, I would love to do that. So again, only drink it if you just happen to prefer the taste. So these are some tips, some tricks of the trade for staying hydrated. There's a lot of different water bottles that you can purchase online that'll say, drink here by 9 o'clock, drink here by 12 o'clock. And it sort of breaks it down to just ensure that you're consuming whatever your goal is for that day. There's also different water apps that you can put on your phone. I know that I don't have them on my phone because I don't like that particular method. A lot of them gurgle and to remind you to drink water, but it can be helpful. Getting in a friendly competition with a good friend can help you to either get your steps in or stay hydrated. Y'all both have goals of consuming 80 ounces of water a day. It's good for accountability to have a competition. Kicking your day off with a glass of water, you're already ahead of the game, even before, as soon as your feet hit the floor. Getting a glass of water can be helpful. If I do this one, if you are outside and running or walking or gardening in heat, having a water belt on, they call them, you can look up fuel belts online on Amazon or wherever you want to purchase your water belt. That ensures that you're never without water and you can always stay hydrated throughout your physical activity. Consuming a little bit of water before each meal can help. And also, if you don't like the gurgling sounds, but you do like alarms, you can set alarms on your phone as drinking reminders just to make sure that you are drinking throughout the day. So with that said, not we don't want to be consuming a lot of every type of beverage, and there's reasons for that. We as dietitians do recommend that you consume primarily water and unsweetened drinks. 100% fruit juice can add a little bit of nutritional value to their diet, but most people should limit it to one serving a day. If you have diabetes, we recommend that you stay away from the sugar sweetened beverages, including fruit juice. The fiber has been removed, and so that can actually cause your, I'm sorry, that can cause your blood sugar to shoot up. So we really recommend that you stay away from it. So sugar sweetened beverages are going to provide calories, but may not influence our appetite the same and can lead to consumption of too many calories. And just by having extra body weight alone, extra fat and body weight alone on our bodies, that can actually increase the risk for cancer or cancer recurrence. So that's one of the reasons that we recommend limiting sugar sweetened drinks. So also limiting alcohol consumption. As many of you know that's been to some of our other seminars, there's only a few food or beverage items that are known to absolutely can cause cancer. One of them is alcohol, another one is processed meats, and then another food item is red meat in excess consumption of over 18 ounces a week. So here in the spirit of beverages, we do recommend that you limit your alcohol consumption if you drink at all. It's best to just abstain from alcohol. Previous research did show that modest amounts of alcohol may have a protective effect against heart disease. However, that's further research is showing that may not necessarily be as true as we once thought. Alcohol in any form, wine, beer, whatever it is a potent carcinogen, which means it's cancer causing or can be cancer causing. For those concerned about cancer or cancer recurrence, don't drink. It is linked to 6 different types of cancer. Okay, so that wraps up our talk on hydration and fluids and all those types of things today. Does anybody have any questions? I don't see anything in the chat box.
Hold on, Blair. I did receive one question that came to me.
Okay.
Okay. Someone had a question that they have read that too much chlorine might not be good for you. Can you address that?
Too much of any vitamin or mineral, generally speaking, is not good for us. You wouldn't want to go too much over the 100% daily value, and I cannot tell you that off the top of my head. But I can look into that and get back to you if that's something that's of concern. But generally speaking, if you do have serving of the one to two servings of the oral rehydration solution of any type, it's going to be more than safe for you. But if you do have a specific concern or you want to know exactly how much you need, then I can definitely get back to you on that one.
Okay, thank you, Blair. And one more question. Do you have any knowledge about reverse osmosis water filters for your kitchen faucet?
That can be helpful. As far as that's concerned, and do I have specific details on that? I do not. But we use a filtration system for us.
Thank you for joining Cancer Support Community Atlanta for this program. If you're interested in other live or recorded programs, please visit the online program tab of our website, cscatlanta.org, or follow us on Facebook. We'll be sharing additional information on upcoming programs.